of going. So we're back with Michelle Bradshaw Conti, and we've just been talking about yoga and the path of yoga and how it's impacted you. And I know that you studied, with swamis and people that were from India and that were able to translate yoga to you in the Bahamas, right? Mm-hmm. And you also studied with someone else. Can you tell us about Dina Amsterdam? Because I'm interested in her methods.
Yeah. Dina was a client of mine for many years, and she was, consistently sort of sharing with me that she was a yoga teacher and that maybe I should come to a yoga class and try her style, and I might like it. And so after a few years of her inviting me, I finally went to one of her classes. And she teaches a style of yoga called Yin Yoga. She's since then gone on to create her own style of yoga called Inner Yoga, and she's just completed a teacher training course. So that message is infiltrating out into the universe, which I'm very grateful for. But at the time, she was teaching a style called Yin Yoga. And Yin Yoga is long, passive holds that is a more contemplative practice because it accesses into the connective tissue that connects into the pranic channels, the meridians, the chakras. Mm-hmm. So it works with the subtle energy body, and it allows us to establish a relationship with our emotional energy, and she relates to the emotions as energy in motion and raises our awareness to be able to actually feel an emotion as a physical sensation in the body. And there's an invitation to reside in an edge of discomfort so that we can habituate to the idea that discomfort is not necessarily something to be escaped from. It's something to show up with.
Right, and kind of ride the edge of it a little bit.
And be in relationship with that discomfort so that we can understand that we can navigate through that, and we can understand that we really are strong, we really can endure, and it allows us to establish greater confidence in our capacity as, strong spiritual beings. So I went into a 3-year internship that was completely voluntary. We just did an exchange, and I feel very privileged that I was in relationship with her at that time, and we had a very open, fluid exchange of information, and I saw how her style really worked well with my method that I was creating separately from that was teaching people how to basically master their mind and master their emotions and to connect deeply into their essence and know that we do have a subtle energy body. It is part of our physical reality.
Right.
And when we are in relationship with that, we enhance our power and our capacity as spiritual beings to make positive choices, what to do with our emotion, what to do with our thinking, and how to not be at the effect of it, but to get in the driver's seat of our physical being and our physical reality and our lives, so that we can actually create a life by design. And that's all part of the program that I teach. So the yoga, to me, is really the pinnacle of the tools that I've created, because the yoga includes the physical body, and it gives us access into that part of who we are in relationship to our consciousness and in relationship to our emotions. So it's a truly, truly holistic perspective, which is the perspective that makes sense to me, because we are all of those things.
Right.
We're all of those things.
Well, don't you think that yoga as a process, it's thousands of years old, that yoga over time has developed a very intimate relationship with the subtle energies, and because it does work with the chakras, the 7 energy centers in the body, that it gives you the opportunity to expand your consciousness as you're working different yoga positions, or would you...
Absolutely. All yoga absolutely brings that benefit and brings that possibility. The way that I work with the yoga kind of amplifies that.
Yeah, so talk about your life guides a little bit.
So I work with the chakra system. So I'm in alignment with the yogi's idea that we bring our karma through our chakras.
Right.
And there's energy that's stored in not actually necessarily stored in our chakras. It's more like the chakra is an antenna that picks up the frequency of a particular emotional vibration. It doesn't necessarily, it can have a physical matter, a physical storage of energy, and it may not. But it's related to consciousness and it's related to emotion. So whenever we go through trauma, there's a couple of things that happen automatically. One thing is we stop breathing fully. If we stop breathing fully, we stop feeling fully. It can be used as a tool of survival, sometimes a necessary tool of survival, but it has a consequence. It teaches a pattern of not really feeling our feelings.
Right.
And I feel that the highest truth of healing emotions is all feelings fully felt and integrated can transform into love, into joy, and into happiness. So when we establish a relationship with our subtle energy body and we're feeling our emotion as energy in motion through the body, then we have an opportunity to integrate it, to include it as the community of the self and dissipate the knots, the karmic knots, or the trapped emotional energy. And also another thing that happens when we get exposed to trauma is the mind comes in to do what the mind does, and it creates a perception or a misperception about the reality of that situation, about the reality of that situation, and the subconscious believes that to be true, so continues to create a way of being right about that perception, and re-ingrains that pattern into the subconscious. So with my yoga, what I do is we go through the subtle energy body into the chakras, and each chakra is predictable in terms of the type of emotional vibration that it will hold and the type of consciousness that it will hold. So for example, the first chakra is related to the emotional vibration of agitation, irritation, annoyance. It's related to the liver meridian. It's related to the consciousness of not feeling safe, not feeling secure. So when we're in a particular shape, that we gain access into that meridian through tugging on the connective tissue, we also gain access into an opportunity to rebalance and align the emotional vibration and the consciousness connected to that emotional vibration. So I work with visualization, affirmation, and frequency, correcting the frequency of insecurity or instability by connecting to its opposite, positive experience and feeling of stability and security. So it just amps up what is present in other yoga practices. Yes, you do get that energetic opportunity, but when you bring conscious awareness into that whole process, it really amplifies and accelerates the possibility for healing and establishing a strong relationship with your own energy, subtle energy body. Because one of my goals and one of my intentions is to really support people in understanding how to do these practices on their own, to get a template of information and experience, so that then later they can integrate that into their system and they can use it anytime, independently of me or anybody else doing anything for them. It's educating. Maybe it's just about reconnecting lines of communication that can get pushed out through trauma, numbed out, and empowering people to really truly understand that they're powerful spiritual beings and they're really capable of a lot of things that we may not be doing right now. We have a lot of power. So I just want to reconnect that whole communication, so it's a strong communication.
It also sounds like you're giving people tools that they can use for their lifetime, which is something that I feel very strongly about in my work too, that I think that if you're giving people